Hello and welcome to the Dip Podcast. This is a very special episode of the Dip Podcast. You're probably wondering why it's called Dip. It's because my name's Drago Ivan, and why is it called Dip? Drago Ivan Podcast. It's sweet, it's simple. Sweet, simple, keep it simple, stupid, with the KISS method. That's what I get into, but I'm not going to mention the name again because Gene Simmons might sue me. But anyway, let me introduce the fine person I've got to my side here. Let me just go over my notes. He is FHM's Funniest Man of the Year award winner. He's a regular at the Stand-Up Comics Lounge in North Melbourne, the premier 7th best comedy club in the world. Yeah, I'll do my research. Plus, he played the annoying devil on Balls of Steel Australia. If I can't mention that, guess what?
It's blank. There's nothing on it.
That was really...
Just like my head, it's blank. There's nothing on it. It's because, I'll have to blank it out if I can't say that. But please welcome John Burgos. We get Burgo with the lot today.
Who we? Oh, me. Yes, Burgo with ha ha ha. I used to get called burger rings before burger rings even were a thing. You know that.
He got his ass cooked. He got cooked.
Hey, you didn't go down like that, huh?
He got cooked.
Anyway, thank you for being a part of this gig. We're truly honoured. It's just a podcast.
Part of the dip.
Yeah, part of the dip. I should have had a cheap dip that we could have tried out, but being a stand-up comedian and making and breaking it out, the only thing is we have to steal the dip because we can't afford the dip. But we're producing a dip, so it's even better.
You have to steal the dip because you can't afford the dip.
Like, fuck your shirt.
Yeah, and I'm the guest on the show. I expected some dip, at least something. But anyway, that's
yeah, you can have half of my Coke. Budget's going
I was
up,
going
mate.
to say the budget on this show is just through the roof.
I can't afford the sugar though. We're not sponsored, but I'd love a sponsorship. This is a new thing that I'm doing with anyone that I'm going to interview, but this isn't just anyone. This is John fucking Burgos. We're going to go through 5 questions, and these 5 questions I've curated them, and it's not on a blank piece of paper. These actually have the questions on them because it took me.
And before you do start, I wasn't the award winner. I wasn't the winner on the FHM Funniest Man or Woman.
Or whatever.
I don't know. I don't know where the rankings were. I'm assuming that I was.
You were up there.
So, but I was definitely on it, and I still get recognised from that to this day. That's weird. That people still, you were on FHM. It's like, mate, that was 100,000 years ago.
Out of everything to remember from FHM, if they remember...
Yeah, me.
I just came out. Did you see those ass cheeks?
I see.
They're remembering you. They're like, fuck the covers.
Yeah. No, all those, yeah.
It's John Burgos.
Yeah, well, there you go. I've made my mark.
That'll lead straight on to why I brought you into comedy. Was it FHM? What got you into stand-up comedy?
I fell into it by accident. I went back to uni when I was 30, and they had a stand-up campus comedy competition.
Yep.
And the guy that was running the student activities guy, I knew him from other stuff, and he asked me, you've done some public speaking, a little bit of radio. It's like, well, it's community radio. I've never done stand-up. He goes, mate, I just need somebody to fill because I haven't got enough comedians. And I was like, all right. So I went home and I wrote some stuff, and I went back in, and it was like there was no pressure because it was just like I was just filling a spot, and I won. I was like...
How shitty were the other comics on the bill?
Well...
And it should be me.
One of them was actually Sammy Harrison, who's my partner in crime right now with the Science Wits. So he was the first person I've been in comedy.
Science Wits is a stand-up comedy show, a comedy show.
Science show for kids.
Yeah.
Fun science show for
Lucky
kids.
we said that beforehand, they're like Science Wits.
Yeah, Science Wits. Yes, that's...
We look like we're in a dodgy garage.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, yes, we're at Science Wits headquarters.
I'm making an experiment as we speak. No, and so it was by accident, and I won. And then the second ever gig, the grand final, was at the Comics Lounge. And so the second ever gig I ever did was there, and it was Once I got off, I was finishing uni, and I was thinking to myself, all right, now I've got my degree. I still don't have a direction in my life. I still don't know what I want to do.
Right, you know what? I'm sorry if there was any distractions with this because there's a heater that's going on.
Not only was that the goddamn stupidest thing I've ever heard of.
Yeah, we're
Okay,
back.
so you can chuck in a little blip bird in there.
Yeah,
I can go back to saying, what was I was, so I didn't know. I didn't have any direction still. So I was finishing uni, and I still didn't know what I was going to do after doing my degree. And then I did that stand-up comedy show, and it was like, this is it. This is what I'm doing for
Of
the
course.
rest of my life. The buzz after getting off that stage was just like, after getting those laughs and not expecting them and just getting them, was like, oh man, this is money for jam. This is the best thing in the world ever. I never look back.
Well, you know what? This leads perfectly onto just the overall topics of do's and don'ts. Like, don't have your heater on when recording.
podcast.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Guy's a fucking asshole. I love him.
what would you say are the do's and don'ts of comedy?
Well, people are going to, all comedians have different rules. I'm going to say all different ways to go about things, and everybody's an individual. Wow, let's look at that. That's a fathead dog right there. Look at that. Hey, fathead. So there are do's and don'ts. Do be professional. Do be punctual. Do be polite. Do be courteous. Do be nice. Don't be a dick.
You don't know who you're going to be nice to at the end of the day, so just be nice to everyone. There's no point of being mean or vulgar and having an ego trip, definitely.
Absolutely, I absolutely agree with that. You never know. You never know who you're going to have to meet on the bridges ahead of you or on the road ahead of you, right? That you've met from your past.
Yeah.
And it's not just that. That's not the only reason to be polite. It's just because it's an ego-driven industry. The people that do this stuff are very ego-driven.
Of course.
So
no problem, mate, yeah? No fucking problem.
don't fall into that trap. Wait.
Hang in there. Bum, dum, dum, bum.
What I will ask you though is, can you give me one more day?
Hopefully that's the final distraction.
That's all right. Like, again, just edit it out. Well, we can.
You know what? That clearly brings us on to the don'ts. What's the don'ts? What's the don'ts to stand up?
Don't let your ego. Well, I suppose that's it. Don't let your ego take over. Don't be a dick. It's the rules of life. Don't be a dick. Be aware of everyone as much as you can, and you never know. I don't. As far as, like I said, the do's and don'ts of comedy, everybody has their own path and what they do, and what you think might not work for you works for them. So you can never judge what's going to work and what isn't in some respects, especially over time with experience that people gain. The don'ts is just don't. It's life's general rule. Don't be a dick.
What would be your weirdest gig, I would say?
My weirdest gig. Oh, there's been so many. Oh, it's probably.
And I love that FHM is one of his best gigs. That is like.
That was the weird. I've done weird gigs. I did a gig for a bunch of cyclists, male cyclists, a cycling club, and they were blind, and it was this longish sort of room, and they were all up the back, and I was up the front on the stage, and I'm on there, and they're hostile from the minute, and they're blind, and they've been waiting for a comedian for ages because somebody didn't rock up, so I was called at the last minute. And I had to drive from Melbourne to Geelong.
Hey.
I'm there.
Melbourne to Geelong, sorry, by the way, for anyone that doesn't know.
About an hour.
Easy drive, right? That's without traffic.
So I get to the gig and I start working, and these guys are just not into it, right? They've got their own thing going. They're laughing at their own jokes at this stage, and all of a sudden there's a giant black rubber phallus. Yes, a dildo about that big. It was just, in fishermen, it was like this, and it was like that. I mean, why would you be carrying that around all night with a cyclist? It did, and they threw it at me on stage. This guy threw it at me on stage. It was like, why would you carry that? And during that gig, I remember this one guy, oh, mate, I'm going to do a better job than you. And I was just so sick of these guys that I said, fine, you know what? Come up here, mate. I gave him the microphone. I introduced him. I said, yeah, he's a comedian. And I went and sat down where he was sitting.
Did he kill?
Mate, he got about 3 words in. He was like, mate, I was telling you this. I know some funny stuff. And then all of his mates are starting.
And then you took revenge and chucked the dildo back.
The fuck is that?
I literally just got up. After a couple of minutes, went back, grabbed the mic and said, see, it's not that easy, is it, mate? Sit yourself down. You want me to entertain you? I said, do you want him to entertain you or do you want me to entertain you? And they went, yeah, you. It was like, fine, can we get it back on track? And then straight away again, as soon as I started telling jokes, they were like really hostile. And at the end, I cut it short. I was supposed to do like, 25 minutes or so. And I ended up doing about 10. And I maybe 12. And I cut it short and I went, I want my money. And they're like, oh, no, yeah, because no, we didn't have it ready. And I said, mate, I was told that I was going to be fixed up cash at the end of the gig. Right? And it's like, and he starts, oh, all right, I'll get the treasurer, from... So now
The treasurer, let me just make a quick call to government.
It's taken 5-10 minutes for him to go get the treasurer and stuff, and they finally come back, and the treasurer starts counting out the money, 50 at a time, like 50, 100, and he's looking at me, and he's gone, and he's sort of like run out before the fee's fully covered, and I've looked at him, and I've gone, mate, it was this amount, and he goes, oh, but you went short. I said, you go in there and do it, and he pulls out more money.
Hell no, fuck that.
Gave me the full fee. I grabbed it, walked out the door, didn't look back. It was like, man, that was a fun gig, that one.
So if you were to be booked there again, would you say no?
Probably.
Yeah, that's
You know what? I'll take the gig. It was 10 minutes. I made a chunk of change. That was all right.
Well, that being said, chunk of change and everything in general, what was your best gig? This is a fourth question, by the way. See how we smash it out of the park when you enjoy what you hear? Subscribe to Dip.
So press the. Is there a where am I supposed? Don't you have a little pointy thing? Will you have something come up where my finger is?
Eventually, where you've been pointing, something would have been there.
Come on, get me the bird.
Like just
press the subscribe. Ding.
Best gig.
I don't know. That's hard to say. I've had a lot of really, really good gigs. One of my a really fun gig, and it's not my best. But definitely one of my funnest gigs ever was my birthday. I was on tour, a mining tour in WA, and I was with Chris Franklin and Nick Cody, and Chris Dooley, Jeremy Dooley. If you're watching, that'll be your uncle. And I'm sorry that I brought that. You probably wanted to keep that quiet, knowing your uncle.
Yeah, everyone has a favourite uncle. So.
Oh man,
For dear life.
yeah, no, Chris is definitely everybody's favourite uncle. Uncle Slappy, I call him for reasons that we won't go into. And no, it's nothing violent.
That are legally I can't discuss.
No, it's just, let's just say when I was mentioning that the giant, yeah, well, so he's, it's when there's a slapping. Okay, I'm just saying it's not about violence. I just rather not think about it, to be honest. So we're on tour, and it was my birthday, and we were at this mining camp, and it was massive. It was like there was heaps of people. Would have been like good 300-400 people there easy, right? In the outdoor mess, and it was a roaring gig, and they were really up for it, and we were having great gigs all tour. And I got up to do my bit, and Franklin at the end, Franklin got up and made the crowd got me back up on stage and made the crowd sing me Happy Birthday.
Yes.
And it was like, it didn't make them, just asked them to, you know what I mean? And it was after my spot, and I had a really good spot. I had a really fun gig. And then the crowd sang Happy Birthday. I love Franklin for that. That was like such a really nice thing to do. And it's like, I suppose it's not a big deal, but it was, because we were on tour. You miss your family, you know what I mean? It's like you haven't seen them for weeks at a time. And it was a very, very nice thing for him to do. That was a good time. That was a fun.
That's it. And when you get miners to sing,
You a big motherfucker.
They sounded like angels. It was. It
was just like in the movies.
No, when I say miners, you realise I meant like little kids.
Of course.
No, they say it's like an angelic choir. No, of course. Yeah, no, it was. They all sang Happy Birthday. All these rough mining guys, and it was great.
And ever since then, he hasn't been sung Happy Birthday. He's
No,
kind of devastated.
that was-
People at the Comics Lounge have to pick up their game.
No, I'm just going to say, since that was the best one. I don't think anybody can top that. So we'll just, I'll leave it there. That's the last Happy Birthday. It's like when you take a toast out of a glass and you smash the glass. Nobody can toast out of that glass again.
And give it a quick step. You're like, that was my glass. It's not happening.
I don't count birthdays anymore. I'm like my dad. When I hit 50, I started going backwards.
Just one of those like Robin Williams Jumanjis walks out of the door. What year is it? It's like, you've got your car service today, buddy. And that being said, I reckon that's taken us to our final question to wrap this all up. Thank you once again for being a part of Dip. Let's leave this the last question. advice to anyone that wants to get into stand-up comedy, who's in stand-up comedy, that's using stand-up comedy as an outlet, just overall advice on what you would give a comedian.
Have fun, enjoy it. That's the whole part. If you're not having
And
fun,
lock eyes with that camera. Make sure they're all.
if you're not having fun, the crowd's not having fun, right? So have fun, enjoy it, and appreciate it. And you get caught up in the idea that it becomes work after a while. But remember that, like, it's better than a real job. And my advice to get ahead or to get better is just do gigs. Just gig. You guys have it's different when I was coming up. There was a handful of rooms. There was nowhere to perform at. You're lucky to get 1 or 2 gigs a week, or whatever, or open mic night. None of this got running from one to another. I remember when there was the Young and Jacksons and the X-Wood were both running on a Monday night, and it's like, oh, finally, you got to run from one gig to another. But usually it wasn't like that, right?
And that's physically running from one gig to another.
Yeah, have done it, right? Have done it, right?
Like, great cardio, man.
Yeah. You got to put the yards in.
The ABC purposely done that to make sure everyone was still marketable. That was running between the 2 gigs.
It was like, but those opportunities are bigger now. There's lots of open mic rooms. Get up as often as you can. Do as many gigs as you can. And listen. Don't be stubborn about your material. Don't think, don't keep pushing something if you know the crowd isn't into it. You know what I mean? Listen to the crowd. They're the people that you're performing for, right? They're the first and foremost. Try a joke several times, 2 or 3 times, 4 times. If it doesn't work, you got to tweak it. You got to fix it up. But it's persistence is key. Persistence is key.
And this comes from a fine gentleman that not only made a professional and a living of stand-up comedy, but started off in community radio. So there's hope for Brett.
I love them. The business.
That being said, if you liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up.
On the subscribe button.
Yeah, on the subscribe button, wherever you find it. If you hit that notification bell, guess what happens? You get alerted whenever I do a dip episode. Did you know that? Or any video. Any video at all. Well, not any video. There's some videos on my phone.
I was going to say, I've seen some of the videos that you do. I don't know that any video is appropriate.
I'm Drago Ivan, real Drago Ivan on Instagram, at the John Burgos on Instagram, is it?
Yeah, I think it's the John Burgos.
Head over to johnburgos.com.
Yeah, Facebook.
Yep.
Yes.
You think I have a podcast and it was pretty impressive. John has a backlog of episodes. You need to make sure to hear us on a John Burgos podcast.
The episodes with David Todd. It's the NER, no encouragement required podcast.
So make sure to hit up that. And thank you once again, mate. We're going to end the video. Usually when I say I'm going to dip, I get up and walk out of camera frame. Do you want to do that? We're going to dip.